Well, good day, everyone. My name is Troy. I'm a Microsoft Learning Delivery Specialist. Welcome to our info session on the Microsoft School Transformation Program, run in conjunction with DET Digital Learning. Just letting you know that this meeting is being recorded for the sake of people who want to access it later on, or even yourself. So unless you don't want to be seen, remember, if you want to ask questions or say anything, if you put it in the chat, it won't be recorded, but if you come off mute or turn your camera on, then you will be seen. So just letting you know that in advance. So today what we're going to do, and this session is not really going to take very long at all. We're just going to talk about what the Microsoft School Transformation Program is, how it works, and just some points that you need to be aware of as we move along. Again, don't forget, pop your questions in the chat, but we'll also share some links and other bits and pieces with you that you can ask some questions beyond today. Yep, that's me there again. As I said, I'm a Microsoft Learning Delivery Specialist, which is just a fancy way of saying I come from education, 16 years as a teacher, and more recently stepped into this role working with Microsoft. So I work specifically with schools, with departments, dioceses, independent schools, etc., and just helping them with their digital transformation of their school and of their context. So looking at the Microsoft School Transformation Program, it's a free professional learning program to build and implement your school's unique digital transformation strategy. So I just want to stress that this is a whole school program. That is, it's not about individuals signing up, it's about the whole school signing up. So we do need your principal to correspond with us, and we'll make all that clear what that looks like. I've also got Lauren Arkley from the DET Digital Learning team on here as well. And at any point, if she has anything to add, then she's most welcome to chime in on the process. And a little bit later, we'll talk about the process of applying. But yeah, we do need the principal's written approval because it's about the whole school connecting. But again, we'll talk about more of that. We'll talk about that more, excuse me, as we go forward. So thinking about professional development, when I first came into the role at Microsoft, we were doing a lot of standalone workshops. And it's not that workshops aren't necessarily a good form of PD, but they are not necessarily the best. And they work the best when they're a part of a broader program. So I started to do some research, both after I got the role and also before I got this role in some of my postgrad work around what good professional development looks like. And we were looking at things like professional learning communities and professional learning teams, communities of practice, all this kind of stuff. And we're limited from a Microsoft perspective because we don't have necessarily ongoing relationships with you as a school, and neither does the department, because schools are largely doing their own thing and there's a very much a devolved model. So I started thinking about knowing our limitations as Microsoft and knowing the limitations of our connection with the school. How can we have lasting impact? What can we do to make sure that schools connect with us but take something really meaningful out? So I started looking at what constitutes effective professional development, and there's a consensus. There's largely a consensus around what the research says, at least at this point in time. And so when I started looking at the things that I felt like we could deliver, so this is not what I'm about to share with you is not in any way a comprehensive list of what good professional development looks like, but it was things that I felt that we at Microsoft could actually adapt to bring to you and your school. So the first thing is it is intensive and includes follow-up and on-site support for teachers. So the idea is that, yes, we're going to hit you hard with some workshops and with some professional learning for sure, but it can't just stop there. There needs to be follow-up and there needs to be support for you in an ongoing sense. Second of all, there has to be active learning opportunities for teachers. So it can't just be passive sitting in a webinar or sitting in a course, in a face-to-face lecture. And it has to include practice. So you do things. It has to include feedback, and there must be room for reflection from attendees. The other thing is it must utilise the expertise of teachers in schools and in districts meaning departments. And that really stresses the fact that we want to treat you as professionals and recognise the expertise that you already have and build upon that. And we want to the program has to cultivate leaders, that is bringing people into middle leadership roles and even beyond, and then involve the teachers in the planning of the professional development. So some of the things that we're talking about there is about what you're going to do when you take this back, what you learn in this program back into your school with those that don't necessarily attend. And then also we provide structures that facilitate collaboration among teachers, both within and across the school. So this is about sending teams of teachers into this program. And I want to really stress something here, that not every teacher that you send to this program is going to attend every workshop. We're looking for groups within the school to come along to different workshops, and we'll spell that out as we go. But coming together means that you will be able to work and collaborate within your school. But because we have multiple schools in the program, so you'll come in as a cohort of schools, you'll be able to interact across the schools as well. So we have really thought about these things, and we've really thought about, you know, some of the other factors that I haven't listed there, and we've tried to bring that into our program. The other thing too is looking at the Australian curriculum here, I know very much that the Victorian curriculum is what we'd be using as a basis for what we do with you through the DET. Nevertheless, the VIC curric has actually removed the ICT general capability, and basically what they've said is that it's implied to be right across the curriculum. So with that in mind, I still like to show you this slide, because it actually gives you a sense of what it is that we're trying to achieve in the program, because we've tried to align it very much with the idea of the ICT general capability. So it's about applying social and ethical protocols and practices when using ICT. So this is obviously for the students, right? But we have to make sure that the teachers get this as well. And then it's, you know, the simplicity, excuse me, of managing and operating ICT as well. But where we want to focus, I think, for our program is we want to lead students to learn to investigate with ICT. We want to help them to create with ICT, and we want to help them to communicate with ICT. So the idea of the ICT general capability, which is what is implied in the Victorian curriculum as well, is that this is right across the curriculum. So what this series of workshops and what this program is not about is so much digital learning and the digital technologies curriculum. That's not to say we don't touch on it, but it's more about ICT across the entire school and ICT across the entire curriculum. All right, so again, please note that this is not so much about learning to code. We will definitely touch on those things because it's part of what we're bringing, but it's about ICT in English, ICT in maths, ICT in humanities, ICT in science, ICT in the general, in the digital technologies curriculum. So it's about ICT right across everything. So, and we want to start with that core curriculum, which is literacy and numeracy and those kinds of things. So what does it look like? Well, I'm glad you asked. So the first workshop that we offer is the Transforming Education Leadership Seminar. And what the point of that is to create, or to continue to create, if your school has already started to do that, a shared vision for the digital transformation of your school. So Travis Smith from Microsoft, I'll share a slide about him in a moment. He's going to come in and work with the leaders, talk to them about what a good what digital transformation looks like from this leadership and policy perspective. And towards the end of that workshop, you'll begin to create or continue to create your shared vision. Now, I want to stress this. While we say suggested attendees, this is who we really want. This is about your principal, your deputy principals, e-learning or digital leaders, curriculum leaders, and or your IT director if you have that person in your school. So what this is not for your rank and file teachers, it's not for your learning support teachers, it's not for your teachers' aides, it's for the people that are involved in the decision making around that digital transformation. We hold that on 2 dates. You choose one, so it's not a 2-day workshop, it's a 1-day workshop. We offer it on 2 dates, which is the 27th of July or the 2nd of August, and it's pretty much a half day or a little bit more than a half day, and it runs from 11 a.m. till 3 p.m. All right, so remembering, who do we want for this one? We want these people here to come along and be a part of that. And this is the slide just talking to you about Travis. He's our K-12 industry lead, a former vice principal from Frankston High, which was the first government school to actually start a one-to-one technology program, right? One-to-one device program. So he has a lot of experience in both in schools and also supporting schools and supporting dioceses and departments, etc. And he will be building that on what's called the Microsoft Education Transformation Framework. All right, now the second component, and this is one close to my heart because I deliver this. This is the E-Learning Leaders Institute, right? Very fancy name. It is to upskill educators in your school to support other teachers and deliver PD. Participants will also work on a project. So let me talk about who the attendees are before I unpack this. So we're looking at e-learning and digital leaders. Okay, so these are middle leaders within the school. You may want to send aspiring teachers in this space as well, but really this is the middle leaders, curriculum leaders, and again, as I say, they're the classroom teachers. So these are the people that will learn to train others. That's what this is all about. We will introduce you to the Microsoft resources, Microsoft tools, etc. But please, I need to stress, this is not a, are you new to Microsoft and you want to learn all about Forms or OneNote or that kind of thing? Not at all, okay? It's to train you to train others. And you'll work on a project, all right, which we'll have a look at in a minute. That's run 2 days. So this is not an or, this is an and. So you come to both days, and it's the 5th and the 9th of August from 9 till 3. So the E-Learning Leaders Institute is specially designed for K-12 leaders and educational trainers. So we're looking at those middle leaders, maybe APs for sure, but it's probably not the sort of thing that your principal would want to come to. So you'll be exposed to Microsoft technologies, okay? But remember, you'll be exposed, you're not going to master them, all right? You'll do some hands-on activities and participate in best practice conversations for innovative teaching with ICT tools. You will learn to apply the Microsoft resources and staff development programs available to professional development facilitators. So we have a lot in this space. So we will expose you to all that. You will explore the ADCAR change management model and its application to a school context. So you will learn how to lead your school and your colleagues in change and adoption of technology, and also to the uses of technology. We'll connect that back to the VIC curric, of course. And then what you're going to do is you're going to, this is the project, you're going to build a strategy and plan to move your colleagues through what we call the crawl, walk and run framework, which is like a beginning, intermediate and advanced framework. And so you're going to execute this back at your school. And then lastly, you'll be certified as a Microsoft Innovative Educator Trainer. In other words, we want you to be able to deliver training back in your school. So you're not relying on Microsoft at all, but there's going to be a whole lot of resources that we'll introduce to you for that. So the professional project, again, is something that you will build. Let me tell you a little bit about this. It's a group presentation, so you need to make sure that you send a group of people, minimum of 2 from your school, more the merrier, to the 2 days. And then after the 2 days, or towards the end of the 2 days, you will start to create a group presentation showing your plan, its execution, and your victories and challenges, right? So let me stress that you will start to build that plan, not the presentation. When you're working with me, you'll go back to the school, you'll execute that, continue to build it, and then execute that. And then the project that we want from you is that you will upload a presentation showing your victories and challenges. It can be a PowerPoint, a video recording, a PDF, Word doc, or some other media. So it's not about showing us just your successes. It's also about showing us your challenges. So it's all about the learning by doing, right? You'll upload your group's presentation to your school folder. Excuse me, that's a typo there. It's at the end of term 4. So you'll do the workshops with us, but you'll have the rest of term 3 and the rest of term 4 to build that out and to execute it in your school and then upload it towards the end of term 4. Sorry, I missed that typo. The other hurdle task is you'll have to make sure that each member watches the presentation in their category, meaning if you're a P-12, you look at another P-12. If you're a secondary, another secondary, primary, another primary. You will watch their presentation or read through their presentation, and then you'll leave observations and constructive comments in the team, and that also will be at the end of term 2. So these dates will be announced. Don't worry about that. but you'll have some time between uploading and also looking at other people as well. So 3 steps to this task, to this hurdle task. Demonstrating your what you did in your school through a presentation, uploading that, and then also commenting on other people's presentation or other schools' presentations. The next day that we have as part of the project, a part of the program, is the inclusive classroom. So as you can see here, you're going to learn how Microsoft technologies can support students with learning and physical needs. There is so much that we have in our space around inclusivity and equity using our tools. So we want to expose you to that. So who's going to come to this? It's going to be your learning support leaders first and foremost, right? So if you have learning support, professional learning support leaders in your school, we want them. And then other teachers who may be a part of their team, or they are classroom teachers that have a specialisation in this space. Teachers' aides, support professionals. So people that maybe visit your school, we would love you to tell them about this day. So occupational therapists, speech pathologists, etc. Please welcome those people along. It doesn't cost them anything, and we'd love to have them be a part of this. And also, as we said before, classroom teachers that maybe specialise in this area. You get a choice. It's only a 1-day workshop, the 3rd of August or the 12th of August, and that goes from 9:30 till 3:30. So that's a whole day as well. The agenda for that is you're going to be a very brief introduction to Microsoft 365, universal design for learning. We'll explore that. We'll look at reading, writing, and math support, as well as speaking and listening and how the technology can support in those areas. Now, the other day is the Microsoft 365 for IT pros. That's a 2 to 2.5 hour workshop. There's basically 2 places that you can go to be a part of this, because you may be using the DET Central Microsoft 365 tenant. If you do, then you can come on this day, which is 10 till 12. But if you have your own school managed tenant, it is a much longer day because there's so much more that you can do and that you need to know. So that's on the 5th of August from 11:30 till 2:30. But basically what happens is your IT pros explore how to best support schools and manage and deploy Microsoft technologies on school devices. So this is going to be your IT director, your IT manager, IT services staff. But if your school outsources to a third-party IT company, they are most welcome to come along and be a part of this day as well. So basically, whoever's managing IT in your school or working, very closely with IT, if you can afford to release them all in a day, we would love to have them along to this. And that's the agenda there. We'll share these slides with you so you'll be able to share with them exactly what it looks like for them. Now, the other thing is that we have the Discover Microsoft 365 for Newbies Day, and that is for people that are brand new to Microsoft 365 or fairly recent to Microsoft 365. So it's an introduction. So if you're thinking, hey, we want to send people along to the Leadership Day, but they don't know anything about Microsoft 365, get them to come to this. Any of our workshops where you feel people need to be upskilled first and get an understanding of Office 365 and Microsoft 365, please send them to this, because it will be assumed that they know this stuff when they step into the other workshops. All right. So that'll be on the 22nd of July from 9:30 till 3 p.m. Now, the other optional one, which I've just realized I don't have a slide for, is we have a Minecraft day. There'll be a couple of Minecraft days that you'll be able to send your teachers along to. And there will be a basic introduction to Minecraft and using Minecraft Education Edition as a teacher in the school. So you might want to send people that are great with Minecraft, or you might want to send people that don't know Minecraft very well. That's fine. Both those kinds of people can come, because we're looking at using it as an educational tool, not just how to play Minecraft. Everything that we deliver through this series of workshops is 100% virtual via Microsoft Teams. So you don't have to go anywhere. They can be attending from home. They can be attending from a room in school. But what we do want to suggest is, if you're sending groups of people and they can possibly be in the same room, that's probably the best way to do it. But if that's not possible, if we enter some sort of lockdown or whatever, certainly people can be in their own unique environments, and we can offer technology options for small group work and being able to still connect with other people in your school, even if you're not in the same room. But the best way to be is that everybody is sitting in the same room doing it together. So where does this all lead to? Well, you can finish at the end of the program and say, thank you very much for the STP. That was wonderful, and we're going to stop there. But if your school wants to continue its relationship with Microsoft, we have what's called the Showcase Schools program, and we invite you to apply for that. Now, to be accepted into the Showcase School program, it is a much higher bar to jump through than it is for the school transformation program, and it looks something like this. So again, I will share these slides with you. I'm not going to sort of unpack this, but you will see there's a lot more expected around, you know, being in the Microsoft space. You know, if you're using iPads and Macs and things like that, 100% you can be a part of the STP and we welcome you. But if you want to go into the Showcase School program, that's when you really, you know, become pretty much a Microsoft shop. All right. So again, we'll share these slides with you. You can go in and have a look. But I want to stress, this is not the criteria for the STP. This is the criteria for the Showcase School program. The criteria for becoming part of the Microsoft STP is that you must send a delegation from your school to each one of those workshops, and then we must get your principal signing off saying that you agreed to the entire program. Is there anything else that you wanted to maybe add to that, Lauren, around the criteria for being chosen?
I think that's everything. As long as, yep, there'll be a form that's available that you can express your interest on, and you'll include your principal's details on it. We'll give them an email to get their confirmation, and then we will send out a link which will have all the events that your staff can register for. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Thanks for that, Lauren. That's fantastic. So there, that's what Lauren was talking about there. To register your interest, you go to that link there, which is aka.ms/DETSTP. All right, so aka.ms/DETSTP. That will take you to the expression of interest form. Please note that that is showing an expression of interest and a wishing to register. But then from there, we do need to hear from your principal, and we will reach out to him or her. So maybe we just throw open to questions, if anything is in the chat, or otherwise, if there's nothing that's come in or no one wants to come off mute, then you can definitely reach out to me through social media. You can find me on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and also you can reach out to Lauren, and we'll make her details available to you as well.